What's going on? It's your boy Deuce Wayne.
What's good? What's good? What's good? You already know who it is, man. It's your boy Macau back here again. Merv, Big Merv, you know the vibes.
Yes, sir. Big vibes, big vibes. We're back here for season 3 of SceneDMs podcast. And as usual, Merv, we had to take a little break, but welcome back, man. Fans been asking where we've been. Had to take a little hiatus. Like I always say, in between these seasons, we take a little minute because life has been lifing. Life has been lifing. As we get back into the season, we're both respectively playing with our teams, so we have to record remote. Can't wait for the next season. We'll get to be back in person. But until then, man, you know how it is, like SceneDMs. Like we're like hoopers, man. The off season, you got to sharpen your bag. So coming back for season 3, we have a lot of new stuff in store, whether it's the movie reviews, the website, Macau star ratings, updates, merch, some new episodes and content, and even some special guests potentially. So it's going to be a great season that we're looking forward to, Merv. I'm excited to be back.
I'm excited too, but I don't like how we started it off. I don't like it.
Wow.
Somebody's wearing shades. Somebody else is not wearing shades. It seems like it's a disrespect thing that wasn't communicated, fam. If people have to know, I don't understand. There was no communication. It's SceneDMs, not Scene D. Pause.
There you go.
But no, man, I'm super excited. We have a lot of stuff we've been working on, talking about. Just so everybody knows, we talk every day about different things, movies, ideas, and things like that. So I'm just super excited to get started with this joint.
Yeah, it's gonna be great, especially because I feel like cinema's back in a weird way. There's been some great releases recently, so we have a lot of new topics and things to discuss. But before we get into Act 1 of SceneDMs, let's just take a quick media timeout, and we'll be right back with some SceneDMs. Don't go anywhere. We're back. Like I said, SceneDMs. We're on to season 3. Can't even believe it, but we've been progressing. It's our 3rd season, and it's issue 31. Issue 31. It's the one where they break bad. Now, this is going to be a very exciting episode, man. And my only regret is that you got to watch this for the first time. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when you try to put someone on an album or put someone on some basketball highlights, and it's like, yo, you've never seen when Bron did the Pistons like that and scored how many points straight, and you get to watch that for the first time. Like, I was envious knowing the fact that you hadn't seen this series before, and then you had to watch it for the first time. But we were talking about Breaking Bad, man. Merv, like, how was your experience watching that series for the first time?
Man, like Deuce said, it was my first time watching because I'm not really a big series person. I'm more of a movie person. And I've seen a lot more movies than I've seen series episodes. And that, as you know, there's like 10, 13 episodes a season for shows. And I've seen still more movies than I've seen episodes of shows. So I think it's just super important that everybody knows that, so nobody attacks me for not watching Breaking Bad before. But bro, my experience with Breaking Bad was insane. My girlfriend, Tay, obviously, she watched it with me again. She said she watched it before me, but she couldn't remember. And so it was like me and her watching it, and she's like, it felt like I was watching it for the first time again because I didn't remember any of this stuff. So, because she watched it when she was in school. So like when we watched it was an experience, bro. Like we were amped to watch it. We tried to watch like 6 episodes a day, like right after working out.
How'd you break it down? Were you binge watching it? Were you doing episodes?
What? I'm binge watching the heck out of it. Sometimes we stay up to like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning just trying to watch it. We ended up finishing it. I think it was Christmas Day, actually. I believe it was Christmas Day. We finished it. And then moved on to Better Call Saul. But that's we won't get into like that stuff yet. But to say the most, Breaking Bad was elite. Still, it was a kind of shaky moments, but it was elite.
And you hit on something that I want to kind of expand on. You talked about the way you consume that content. You said you guys binge watched it. And for the first time here at SceneDMs, like you said, we usually focus on movies, but this season we're going to focus on some immaculate TV shows and production and series with that nature. So this episode is entirely focused on a TV show and the series of Breaking Bad. And I just wanted to deliver that, but also like what makes a TV show a classic? Because you mentioned, like I said, the binging. What are other elements that make a show something that's in your starting five or your reoccurring rotation, Merv?
As you can see, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big series person. But I think some of the things are like character development.
Right.
I think that's very important, but it's hard to see that right away. Obviously, it happens over time, over seasons. I believe it's character development. Then I would say I had a word for this. I remember I was thinking about it earlier. I had a word for this, but yeah, I think character development would probably be my number one for shows and my thing. But I think at the same time, it needs to have like continuity. Like I think there needs to be a reason for everything. Everything needs to have a reason. I think like if I see something here and like, you know, as moviegoers and we watch everything, we see that if something shows up once or if there's a focus on it or anything like that, you know it's going to come back. Like there's a certain way they do it with the camera and how the director does it. Whereas like, yo, I know I'm going to see this again. And with like Breaking Bad, for an instance, it happened a lot.
Right. Very intentional.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that. I love that about the show. Like everything was very intentional. I think sometimes it was long and drawn out. That's why I don't like series. But at the same time, I think it gave us an opportunity to look at each character, how they react, how the main character reacts, and just like go through all these stories that, you know what I mean? Like the other day I was walking down the street, actually. Interesting. I was walking down the street and I was just like, yo, I was just looking at everybody just walking down the street. I'm like, yo, like everybody in here is like a different human being. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody here is just like a different human being living their own lives that we have no idea. Like they're their own Walter Whites of their story. You know what I mean? Their own like main character. So I'm just like, yeah. So I like really appreciated. To a certain extent, I really appreciated seeing other people's lives and like, you know what I mean? How their lives in the same city, same state, whatever it is, how their lives are like intertwined, but also at the same time their own. So I think that's what I also enjoy about shows.
You mentioned the slow burn kind of aspect, right? And I think I'm a fan of that. Sometimes it can be annoying when shows are drawn out, but I think as someone who is a fan of like those HBO type shows, meaning like the episodic feels more like a movie. It's not so much like a TV show in terms of length and plot. I kind of like that because it makes me want to stick around and see what's next. It's a lot of hangovers, cliffhangers, I should say. And then on top of that, it makes the build up more suspenseful so that when something does happen action wise or dramatic wise, it's way more climatic. But I definitely think that pacing has something to do with making me want to return to a show. And you know me, I love direction and directors and cinematography. So I think there has to be something that is very unique with the show. Like when you watch The Simpsons, you know there's going to be a cold opening and an intro every time, right? That's something that you actually look forward to outside of the episode itself. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you watch Snowfall before the episode started, there was like something uniquely done with the title and it made you interested. So I think like all that kind of stuff adds to you returning to a show too. Excuse me. If you have like a cold opening or a song that everybody remembers, you know,
Breaking Bad, obviously, I mean, we can go into it later, but one of the main things that they did was they started every episode like at the end.
Right.
It was like how Christopher Nolan says that that's how he like creates films and he makes films and he shows us movies is that like he like twists up the beginning and the end so that it's like you see this thing reoccurring throughout the movie and you don't know if it's the beginning, the middle, or the end. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I enjoyed about Breaking Bad. I was like, okay, like how are we gonna get here now? You know what I mean? Like if that makes sense.
And then I think you hit it on the head too. When you talk about the characters. There has to be a plethora of characters that you can relate to because, you know, there has to be a reoccurring cast that you could see yourself in their different emotions or in their different movements and actions because that's going to draw you to be like, all right, this is relatable or this is realistic or I can see myself in this type of situation. And it kind of makes the humanity of the show come out and that makes me a fan, no matter what kind of show it is. And then I'm a fan of the score too. It has to be some good type of music in the background, some needle drops, wardrobe. But yeah, I just think if you have the right performances, the right screenplay, and like you mentioned, the character development, then it could be a seamless transition to being like a classic show if you're able to kind of put it together, and go from there. So I mean, to continue the act, I want to kind of move on. For the people out there who hadn't, you know, maybe seen Breaking Bad, if you had to break it down for them and kind of encompass what Breaking Bad was as a whole, like what would you say Breaking Bad is about?
Are you saying in a general sense?
I would say in a general sense, in the second and third
like
act.
without spoiling it or spoiling it.
We always run into this roadblock.
I know, man.
I feel like, hopefully.
This is we're going to start here. This is the disclaimer of the show. The disclaimer of the show, this part, we're going to be discussing specifically what happens in Breaking Bad.
There you go.
So if you do not want to listen to this, you're going to have to fast forward to a certain time mark that I'm not sure yet to hear Act 2 instead of hearing Act 1. Yeah. All right? I think that's fair. That's a disclaimer here.
As Mayor says, press blood jiggy pause.
Yes.
Go watch the Breaking Bad.
And then come back to this blood jiggy thing.
Resume the episode.
So, exactly. But nah, so I would say what Breaking Bad is about, I think, in my perspective, you can do your perspective, it can be my perspective. Both of us can give an answer and we'll see how alike it is. So with my perspective, there's an middle-aged white man who lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico, who is a science teacher, has a mentally developed child with what is the one that Michael J. Fox has? What is it called again? Parkinson's. No, is it Parkinson's? Does he have Parkinson's? I think. I'm not entirely sure. I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong. And his wife is pregnant. They're obviously over the regular age of people that get pregnant. So that's also another complication. But he's a science teacher, and pretty much he finds out that he's gonna die. Because he has cancer. He has lung cancer. So he kind of has like a, what do they call it again? Midlife crisis. And he's a chemistry teacher. Right. And he decides that, what about meth? Like, can I do something with meth? Can I don't know, make the best meth and sell it? And then it just kind of follows this man as he tries to embark on this mission of making money because he realizes that his cancer is too much. Cancer is too much. He knows he's about to die. So then he wants to leave his family something. He wants to pay for his own cancer bills. He wants to just take care of his family. Everything he's doing is for his family. But we're going to touch on that a little later. But that's a question I really want to talk to you about. If you believe that everything he did was for his family. But right now, we're going to just talk about what it's about.
What the hell is wrong with you? We're a family.
Essentially, and then we just follow. His name's Walter White, and we follow him as he kind of goes through the highs and lows of this being a kingpin, I guess. Yeah. And trying to become, this Godzilla, mafia man, So there's so many parts to it. It's a very simple premise, but it expands in ways that you never think you would see, and you see a lot of different characters that will last is what I'm saying. But essentially, yeah. And then you see that, and he finds he pretty much teams up with one of his ex students who is actually making meth right now, and decides to cook meth together. Right. Because he knew how to do the distribution. He knew how to make it. So he said, let's come together, blah, blah, blah. And that's bada boom, bada bing. That's pretty much the show. But then there's so many parts to it. But that's just my gist. You can say your part if you think there's a different perspective.
No, I think you did a great job. That literally is covering the premise. Like you said, it's such a simple premise, but there's so much intricacies that are laid within there and woven together. I think you mentioned it. You said the reason why I was able to expand, I think it's because of the closeness of the characters, right? There's so many situations where it's like, all right, I think Gus was involved in this because back in the day, they murked his partner or his brother. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that tie back together. I think that makes it cool for like flashback scenes, but also for the progression of the series and the show. But if I had to think about it, I think like overall the theme of Breaking Bad is like blackmailing. I think blackmailing is such an intricate or important part of the show and people's motivations behind like what they do. I think one of the common things whenever you're dealing with a drug dealing type of enterprise is never get high on your own supply. And I feel like whenever there were situations where, Jesse and Walter went through their situation, it was because Jesse kind of didn't know how to deal with his grief and his depression. So he kind of navigated through those type of emotions. And like you said, going from a teacher to a kingpin is a crazy character arc, but it just shows you how far would someone go to take care of their family. Like the desperation that people go through makes them, do and
quote and unquote. Yeah. Quote and unquote. Yeah.
Quote and unquote makes them think and do things unfathomable that they would never thought about doing before. Like even pushing them to situations that they would never do. And I think another, thing about this series is you can't trust anybody. Like at the end of the day, people are still pulling strings from behind the scenes and manipulating each other. Like when you find out Walter White was doing this and this was a secret plan all along, like, or Jesse was doing this or whoever was doing whatever behind the scenes, even Gus, like even when he got murked and it's still like he was
spoiling it, but I forgot we said the spoiler at the beginning. So you can continue. You're right.
So it's like, but yeah, my fault for the spoiler, but even like when Gus got murked and it's like, we thought that was the end of Gus, but his problems, it was like he was still around because he ended up recording. He had the thing on the laptop of all the proof and evidence of them making and cooking stuff in their lab, right?
Where are you going?
I'm getting the hell out of Dodge, kid. And so should you. It's just a matter of time.
Mike, where is the laptop?
What the hell difference does it make? They got it. End of story.
So it's like, even stuff like that, where it's like, you think that one, loose end is tied up, but then something else happens. I think is really cool. And then it's like a never ending chase of redemption. Cause like Walter White, at some point, it's like he's trying to get atonement for his sins, but then it's like he just accepts the fact that he's a bad guy at the end of the day. Like, so it's such a crazy character arc. And then it's one of those things where like you could never leave the drug game. Like people like think you could just hand in your resignation and just quit. And it's like, nah, fam, like there's always something that comes at a price to being a part of that lifestyle. So I don't know. I think a lot of that has to contribute to why it's such a classic show. You know what I mean? Like that, like what else separates it from other shows though? Like, cause when you think of Breaking Bad, I know other people are like, hey, but what about Soprano or what about Sons of Anarchy or what about Prison Break? Cause all these kind of shows kind of follow similar suit in the sense of they had cultural impact, but they also had the glamorizing of the anti-hero. You know what I'm saying? They popularized that character that is bad, Tony Soprano. He murders people. He deals with prostitutes. He deals with hijacking, but we still are like, yo, I hope he doesn't get murked or doesn't get caught. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Walter White. Like, however you feel about him at the end of the conclusion of the show is different. But at the same time, throughout the journey of the show, you're still on his side. Like for the most part, you still kind of empathize with him to a certain
yeah, because the story needs to go on with him. Yeah, you're right.
Right. So like, what makes this different from those other shows? Like I said, that have similar characters that are like bad, but we are drawn and attached to them.
Well, the impact of this show in itself was like amazing. Like It doesn't make sense. Like I've seen so much Walter White references, T-shirts, merchandise and stuff like that. Then I'm just like, and like people are making cartoon versions of other characters being Walter White and stuff. And I'm like, yo, I didn't know, like, I didn't get it. And I've seen, obviously, me, I'm a reaction guy, like meme guy. So if I have like a reaction video, I have bare Breaking Bad ones that I never knew where they're from or what part, like, but I just knew they're from Breaking Bad. So I'm like glad that I watched it because I think that the difference is that there's different aspects for everybody. I feel like the different aspects pertain to a regular old Joe Schmo, Walter White. He's just trying to live his regular old day life. He was perfectly fine until he found out cancer is kind of the thing that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
And I think that like watching him have the intelligence, but also not be the person that he ends up being at the beginning. And I think that like seeing him grow into that person and have that like that part of him grow out of him, I feel like that's what makes like the show like very, very like separates. What I mean? It shows, but it shows it in such a way where it's like, I think one of the interesting things for me, and I know we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but the interesting thing with him with Walter White specifically, is how that he would show to the audience a lot of times that he is this guy that's doing everything for his family, loves everybody. And then you would like see the flashes of like the real person he is. And I think that we were getting like a backseat look into who he is as a real person. And I don't know. I just thought that like there were so many integral parts to who he was, of like as an actual person. Like you could actually see somebody dealing with something like that.
Yeah.
It just changes it for me. I think that like real life things, like in Sopranos where he has a therapist, and I go to therapy, and I'm just like, yo, like those things are like some things I can like feel like, because I'm like, oh, like I've done this before. I understand it. So I think that for a lot of people seeing that, and then we're in an age of people love seeing people make money. I mean, we saw the Scarfaces, we saw the Goodfellas, we saw all those movies where man's making bare money off of doing just illegal stuff.
Yeah.
And all this stuff. We even talked about it when we talked about our heist movies. You know what I mean? Like people love that kind of stuff. So I think that's why it was received so well. That's what I would say.
I would say objectively too, like the stats, the numbers don't lie. We always talk about being, basketball players, and we're in the analytic stage of the game. And it's just like the same thing could be said for when it comes to Hollywood, right? So 16 Emmys, 2 Golden Globes. You talk about it, the streaming and binging test of when it was put on Netflix. I just remember that era of just being at university and just binging, everybody talking about the next day in class and everything. But it was just definitely a time for the golden age and of prestige TV. And you talked about it, you alluded to it before, Merv, but it has 2 spinoffs. It has 5 seasons, it has elite characters that were compelling and complex. For example, did you think Bryan, Cranston could even break type and play that type of character? We known him for comedies like the Pops in the TV show for Malcolm.
Yeah.
Or
no, I remember
he was a dentist in Friends, and then
I remember that.
Him be that character. Like, did you ever foresee that?
That's why it was like interesting for me, because I've seen Malcolm in the Middle, and then like for so long I didn't see him in. Obviously, I didn't watch Breaking Bad. I've seen him in movies or different appearances and stuff, but I haven't seen him in Breaking Bad. And it felt like it was kind of a like. It felt like the dad in Malcolm in the Middle like got his breaking point and then turned into Walter White. You know what I mean? That's what it seemed like. It seemed like he developed over time, like that same guy, like developed over time to become like Walter White. So it was actually super interesting to see that, like his range of what he could do and how he could be so menacing, and when he can go from like a comedy, like hilarious dad and stuff like that, to a man that's gonna shoot you down or try to kill you, or you know what I mean, for drugs or make meth. That range. Exactly. It's insane. So it's like Walt went his journey from a t-shirt kingpin character arc, from being, someone who seems so innocent about a family, to being devious, manipulative, smart, resilient. But every action he had consequences. And like I already mentioned, the writing was genius. The dramatic action is memorable. Like, remember the Hank shootout versus the twins? Mm-hmm. That was exceptional. Like I said, the whole genius behind Gus getting murked by the use of a wheelchair. Yeah. And it's crazy. And the unpredictable writing is something that made it elite too, because it was funny at times, the tonal shifts. Like, it was sometimes a comedy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't outright a comedy, but it had those elements of a comedy. It was super quotable too. Like, Jessie has so many quotes, man.
Yeah, bitch! Magnets! Oh! Yeah, bitch! Yeah, bitch!
Got my photo, bitch?
No, you listen to me, bitch. Fire in the hole, bitch.
There's some of the stuff that he did that was funny. Or even like Walter White when he was telling Skylar, like what? I'm not afraid of danger. I am danger. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, when you went on that spiel and said, like, I'm the one that's supposed to, you think I'm the one that's supposed to be looking over my back? Yeah. These niggas better watch out where I'm coming from, shit like that. Like, I'm like, yeah, all right, bro. I'm like, yeah, it's about your family, though. Okay.
You clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about. But
that's when he changed up.
but hey, bro, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna talk about it, but I'm just saying.
But yeah, man, I think all those things we talked about, it really, really helped make this show something that's rewatchable. I mean, to this day, people still talk about Breaking Bad. They still allude to it. Like you mentioned, the spinoffs are all over the place. The characters are still being people dress up as Walter White and Jesse for Halloween. You see the memes on the internet everywhere.
The thing that I like the most is that they're still best friends. Like every time I see a picture of them on social media, they're like together. And it's like cool. It's like they're like actually really good friends.
They're like business partners. They have tequilas together. I've seen them. So that chemistry really makes it special when you see them on screen and how they act together. And knowing like they're so close off screen.
Yeah.
It really contributes to how real it is with their relationship, because they definitely had that back and forth relationship. But before we go on to Act 2, let's take a quick TV timeout and we'll get right back into it. Don't go anywhere. Got more SceneDMs when we come back. We are back. Issue 31. And yes, it's season 3 of SceneDMs. Issue 31, the one where they break bad. We're talking everything Breaking Bad. Iconic show. What was your favorite season of the franchise, Mervin? Why?
Favorite season, I would say, I was just actually about to look this up. I'll say it's season 6.
Oh, wow. That into the series.
Huh?
That late into the series. Why is that?
Yeah, I think that because you knew everything was getting real. Like, you know, there was a finale coming. So I feel like there was like it was a lot more intense. I'm trying to look this up. Or is it season 5? They only have 5 seasons?
Yeah, 5 seasons. I think it's season 5. 5th was the last one.
Oh, yeah, okay. Season 5, sorry. Season 5 is what I meant. Mm-hmm. Season 5 was probably my favorite just because of like everything that went on towards the end. I don't know. I'm looking at all of them right now because I'm remembering every single episode. I'm just like this. He just like went on a tear. Like he just lost himself. Hank died. Yeah. He started moving like, yo, I'm that nigga for real. Like he was like, remember in the Desi, he's like, say my name. Like that was that season. Like, you know what I mean? He was moving different. He was moving different.
I'm the man who killed Gus Fring.
Bullshit. Cartel got Fring.
You sure? That's right. Now, say my name.
Heisenberg.
You're goddamn right.
And I think that like it ended in such a way that I thought it was perfect. I thought it was perfect.
How did you like the ending?
The ending to me was perfect. I mean, there's not much else. There's not much you could do. It ended with violence, so I'm perfectly fine with that. But it also was like, huh?
Weapon he had when he saved Jesse?
Yeah.
I don't know what type of automatic.
Bro, son. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, so for me, I think the finale for me was a good way to round it out, especially for me binging it. Like and I'm very critical of a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. But I think that was just the best way. I can think about it all the time, or how it ended and how it kind of like did all the loose ends it needed to. It took care of all the loose ends.
Right.
So I think for me that it ended well. But that's why it's season 6 for me. I mean, season 5. I keep saying 6. Season 5 for me was my favorite, and I think it ended right where it needed to. It's like it wasn't pressing on like some seasons, like, you know what I mean. But it was, yeah. That's what I think is my favorite. What about you though?
I have to say for me it's the opposite. It's kind of maybe either 1 or 2. I think one of my favorite seasons too is when they met I think I like 1 and 2 is because we see that Walter is being forced to do things that he doesn't want to do. But essentially it becomes his identity, right? So it's just, even at the beginning, we talk about the coin flip. I remember the coin flip in the first season. Mm-hmm. They got to flip the coin because one of the drug dealers or whatever, the goons didn't die, right? So they're like with the poison. So
yeah, they needed to one of them that is downstairs in the basement, and the other one was outside.
Right.
They flipped. Sorry. One was in the tub. Mm-hmm. And then another one was in the RV, and he got away. Yeah, I remember he got away, and then
And initially they flipped the coin.
In a scenario like this, I don't suppose it is bad form to just Flip a coin. Heads or tails?
No, I'll do the body and the acid, okay?
Heads or tails?
Heads. Heads.
When it was heads, whatever the case was, and Walter was the one that had to end up murking him, it's like he didn't want to do it, but it's like eventually he had to do it. And I just feel like there were so many instances in the first and second season where it was like there's a fork in the road or there's an ultimatum. And it's like, what are you going to do? And Walter had to choose violence like nobody did every time. And I kind of like that because it was like he was initially being kind of pushed into that direction of being a gangster and a kingpin. But like you said, eventually when he made that shift, it's like, all right, bro, you made enough money for you and your family. At this point, you love this. Like this has become your life. Like this
is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think that for a lot of the show, I truly believe that he was doing the things that he was doing for his family. Mm-hmm. But I think at a certain point, he lost that because of the money and the power. He just wanted respect. You know what I mean? It felt like, it seemed like everybody was walking all over him. So he knew that, like, yo, in the streets, Heisenberg was the man. So he was just like, yo, like, you know what I mean? So he would move like that.
There's no better example of that in that part where Hank is on to him and they ask him to see like the subscription of the whatever, it's WW, right? And when Hank kind of thinks that someone else is behind the identity of Eisenberg, remember how he was kind of like, Walter was kind of tight, like, bro, he wouldn't be as smart to pull that off. And it was kind of like his pride.
Bro. Okay, everything is fresh. Like I said, everything's fresh. He was at the table.
Yeah.
And then they were at the dinner table at Hank's house.
Yep.
And they were talking about how like Gail, blah, blah, because and then he's just like, I don't think so. Yeah. And that's what I realized, like you said, like it cheesed me so much because it was just, that was the moment where I was like, yo, it's literally an ego thing. Like now you're just about power. Yeah, it's not about your family.
Safe and being like, yeah, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And absolves himself of all.
Like Skylar, who I hated the most. I hated her guts, by the way, everybody. I hated her guts. I think she, number 7 all time and most hated women on TV shows makes sense because I hated her guts.
My name is Skylar White, yo. My husband is Walter White, yo. Uh-huh. He told me everything.
Seriously?
That's right. And just so you know, my brother-in-law is a DEA agent, and I will not hesitate to call him. Not if I have to. Understood? Do not sell marijuana to my husband.
But anyways.
On that list.
Huh?
You know who else?
Remember we looked at it. It was like a long time ago, and I didn't know who it was because I was like, I never watched the show before.
Yeah, she definitely hated it.
Yeah. But anyways, Skylar was just so annoying, right? So annoying to this man, Walt, and disrespect the man so much. The man couldn't essentially he couldn't sit there and just let people just keep doing all the same stuff. Skylar came to him and said, yo, we have all the money we need. Took him to the warehouse and was just like, bro, I can't have laundry anymore. There's nothing else I can do with this money. Yeah. Like, this is more than enough money. Like, what do you, like, you know what I mean? And then she was trying to say to him, like, bro, like, just now is like the time to give up. Like, you can leave, you can dip, we can just do whatever we want. Mm-hmm. And he just like still was like, nah, I still need to do this. I still need to do that. I still need to do this. Like, he hit the mark he wanted. Then he's like, wait, but then he lost all of it. But then he's like, wait, like I hit them. And then Jesse's like, yo, we got how much you needed. He's like, what? Including inflation and everything, they're probably gonna need this, and that. And I'm just like, yo, bro, you're just like making up costs now to do it. So
even the goalposts, bro.
I know it doesn't make any sense.
To fit the fact that he's ashamed of admitting that he likes that life, like he really does.
Even the lie about him gambling so much. His gambling was what made him the money, not the other stuff. Who was the best character? Who for you personally, won the show?
Bro, I ain't gonna ask a tough question. That's a tough question because, you know, my heart wants to obviously say Bryan Cranston, and that would be the easiest answer, I feel like. But at the same time, you have to love the performance by Gus. And, bro, didn't you meet, bro? What's his real name?
Giancarlo
Espinato or something like that. I don't know.
It always amazes me the way the senses work in connection to memory. I mean, this stew is simply an amalgam of ingredients. Taken separately, these ingredients alone don't remind me of anything. I mean, not very much at all. But in this precise combination, the smell of this meal, instantly, it brings you back to my childhood.
No, I didn't meet him. I was actually, so I never watched the show before I had seen him, right? I seen him in Maze Runner. I've seen him in a bunch of different, like a couple of other movies and things like that. But so I like, somebody said that to me, like somebody, I forget, it was like flight attendant, somebody's like, yo, like the guy from Breaking Bad. And I'm like, I've never watched it, so I don't know. They're like, I'm like, who else is it? Who else? Like, give me another name. Like, what other character? And they said somebody else was like, oh, for real, he's here? And they're like, yeah, he's at the front. So anyways, I pass him because we got to get off the plane for some reason. I forget what happened. It was a delay. We had to get off the plane and I pass him. And I'm like, wait, he looks cheesed. Like cheesed. Peppered, fam, like just cheesed. And I'm just like, all right. So I remember I was texting you. I was texting my big bro, Mick. And he was just like, yo, go get a picture with the man. Like, go say what up. And I'm like, bro, the man looks cheesed. And he's like, bro, he's like, bro, trust me, just go say hi to him. He's probably just doing that on purpose or whatever. But then when I watched the show, I was like, oh, that's just the man's face that he makes all the time in the show. I was like, that's the face. I was like, oh, this man's probably cheesed. The man's always in character. Always in character.
Always in character. I'd be like,
always in character.
I'm still alive, bro. That must be.
Yeah. I was like, I thought the man was just going to stare into my soul and talk about Los Hermanos. Those pollos hermanos, like, please. Yeah, I did meet him. But anyways, continue.
So yeah, Gus, man, that was a great character. So much so that we even saw him in the spinoff. And I think as much as I thought Hank was annoying, I respect the actor so much. Like, he's been in so much other things as well. Mm-hmm. And I just like that element of the story of having. We've always seen like. Even the movie the movie I watched with George Clooney and J-Lo, Out of Sight or whatever, where it's like you always have like, oh, where the boyfriend is the bad guy and the girlfriend's actually the cop and she doesn't really want to get him in trouble but her job's on the line. But we've never really had like the in-law like pursuing the bad guy and it being that close to home, where it's like it's the in-law, and now you end
it's the in-laws, but it's the in-laws that are not related. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? So right. You know what I mean? It's like the opposite. It's not including the person that's actually married. It's including you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
No,
but it's not like the wife and Hank. It's not like Skylar and Hank or Marie and Walter. It's literally Walter and Hank, like the two opposite, the men of the thing that are not even anything. So
that I feel like that aspect of the story is cool because the way Hank would play it just really added to the dramatic scenes of this show, because it's like, bro, does bro know?
To WW, my star, my perfect silence. WW. I mean, who you figure that is, huh? Woodrow Wilson? Willy Wonka? Walter White?
You got me.
WW.
And is he going to act on it now? Okay, nah. Oh, he doesn't know. He crazy. Wow, he on the goose egg. Like, he following the wrong evidence. Right? Oh, nah, he getting close. He warmer. Like, I feel like that game of cat and mouse and what he did with his acting and his ability, even when he got shot and he wasn't the same and he had to kind of change how he was, like, I feel like that was a hard thing to pull off, and he really, like, conveyed that properly. So I don't know. I guess I'm not really giving you a proper answer, but I don't know. I think I like Jesse too, man, because it's like Jesse would be so distraught. He would have so much depth to his like level of emotion and depression. Like when the kid died and how guilty he felt, or even when the two homeless people, or not the homeless people, but the tweakers, when they stole or whatever, and then he had to make that decision and kill the old girl because with the ATM. Remember they stole the ATM?
Yeah.
But even him with that, even when his girlfriend OD'd,
Walter didn't help.
Walter just watched her, just looked at her swiftly, and man just watched her pass away. And just like the levels of like, man, he just showed how hurt he was on multiple occasions. So I'd probably have to say Jesse, bro. How about you? Who you thought won the show?
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna tell you. There's two different things. There's two different answers here because the winner of the show and the best character are not the same person.
Okay.
The winner of the show, if I'm gonna be honest with you, the winner, and after I've done a lot of the tree, understanding who got where, who won, who got money, who died, who all that stuff. The winner of the show is Hector Salamanca.
Okay.
He is the winner of the show. Winner. If it's a competition, he's the winner of the show.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. He, especially watching the spinoffs, he murked, as we know from Breaking Bad, he murked Gus's lover.
Yep.
Murked him. And then on top of that, after Gus killed off his entire family, all the Salamancas and everything like that, like deaded them. Deaded everybody that even the twins were killed. Everybody in his family's dead, just dead. And he was able to get his revenge at the end. Like, you know what I mean? He couldn't move in his chair no more. He was unable to do all that stuff. So for him, he won. He was gonna be stuck like that anyway. He got revenge for his family and he like died knowing like I have the upper hand. Like you're not gonna be able to do this to me forever. Like that. He's the winner of the show as a competition wise. Yeah. If we're talking about like actual characters. Yeah, he did who acted their ass off and also won the show in that sense. That's a hard one because Hector, again, Salamanca, played that shit perfectly. He sat in that chair. I didn't even know the nigga could walk in real life. I was like, yo, this nigga can't walk. He probably can't talk for real. Like they probably got a good character, whatever. Then I seen the man talking and walking. I was like, wait, this guy's elite, bro. No, the man. No, I'm telling you right now, the man played that character so perfectly. And I think that to have like, I don't know, man. There's so many characters that I think did really well. And even if they're like Huel did a good job, even if in his small role, he did a good job. I think Bill Burr's character, like him and Huel did a good job in the show. Like they did a good job. They stole the show in that sense. In Breaking Bad specifically, I think Saul won everybody over. Specifically, as you can see, because he got a spinoff. But he won everybody over because of his character. His character in Breaking Bad was less annoying, I'll tell you, than he was in in Better Call Saul, which we're gonna definitely touch on later. But for me, I think that the official winner in the show is Hector, and the official winner, like if it's actor, I would say it was Bob. Yeah. So Bob, I forget his last name, Orstein or something like that. Like he's the one that played Saul, and I think he won the show personally.
Nah, that was a great breakdown. I can definitely see where you're going with that one. Like I said, man, Walter White just being a master manipulator, just using Jesse as a pawn, even against Gus at the kid's expense with the plants and all that stuff, just being a mastermind. It was just crazy. Him being a mastermind, like you said, eventually you're wondering near the later end of the seasons, you're like, yo, what's his motivation behind this? Like, why is he doing this? Like, does he have to do this, or like, does he want to do this? Does he enjoy doing this? Like, just becoming that character. So I don't know. I think that was cool. But before we get to Act 2, I was going to ask you, bro, like, what would you have done what Walter White did? Like, what if you were pushed to, God forbid?
Okay. Good questions of the day. This is a great question. Me and my teammate actually just had this question today. I asked him because he's like, I told him I was, I forget what we were talking. We were just talking about Breaking Bad. And he's like, I love the show. Right. And I was like, bro, he asked me, do you think it's like based on like a true story? I said, officially, no. But I think I said unofficially, I think that there may be some people that they may have grabbed a few different things from. Sure. In their own real life and made it into a story. But I don't think that everybody's experiencing everything that Walter White experienced or even what he did. As a player, Jessie maybe, Skylar, who cares? Don't really care about her. And stuff like that. But like Hank, I don't know. It's hard to say. We don't know how, you know what I mean? The DEA, I don't know how it works. Nobody knows that stuff, right? But personally, right now, I would think about it too much to do what Walter White did. Think about it way too much. Because I don't need to do that. So like in my mind, I'm like, okay, like let me just chill, like whatever. But like if I if I'm in a different state of mind, if I'm a desperate point, anything sounds good.
Yeah.
You can sugarcoat anything and everybody would say like, yo, that sounds great. Let me do it. That's why there's a lot of people in jail for theft or in different things because they thought it would be as easy and they were desperate. Like, you know what I mean? People get desperate for money. Yeah. But I pray, like you said, I never get to that point. But also, I think that it would be very hard for me to do because I know what it entails. One of the things that I always talk about is that like when you're like one of those people, kingpin. I was thinking about it like Don Eladio in the show Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Yeah,
I was like, why would you want to be like the boss? Because you're always looking behind your back every single day. And I think that being as like Breaking Bad and Saul and Walter, you're no matter what you do, you're always gonna have to be looking behind your back.
Yeah.
Because if you kill this person, like you said, he killed Frank and all this stuff came back on him. Yeah. He killed one person, everything came back on him. You know what I mean? So everything at the end of the day, it's still people are gonna try to kill you, gonna try to do this. And I think that would cause way more of a headache. You know what I mean? I don't know how you'd be able to live a comfortable life knowing that you have to look behind each corner, look behind your back, make sure everything's cool. You know what I mean? You couldn't live regular. But he did in the show, obviously, because the man thought he was invincible. And people definitely do think that, but I don't think I would think that way personally. That's just my long-winded answer. I don't know if that was
a perfect cover up too, like you said, being the middle-aged white guy, suburban.
Yeah, like respectfully.
Like that when you look at him.
Respectfully, we're niggas. I don't know. We're niggas. I don't know what to tell you. We gonna get caught. Yeah, and we're hoopers. Oh yeah, go stand out. Imagine me. Imagine me.
Around is like, yo, bad diabetic. They said he doesn't have too long to live, and you see a man just like, yo, what happened to diabetes? And man's living large and has money out of nowhere. Yeah, something's up, man.
I'm saying, fam, like, imagine 6'7" standing on the corner trying to shuffle meth to the man them. Imagine 6'7" trying to fit into an RV. Are you crazy, fam? I'm not doing that. That's dumb. But no, that's hilarious though.
But even before we go to Act 3, I was gonna say, but yeah, no, I definitely think when you're pushed to certain depths that you're gonna like. I guess like for him, he was thinking like, bro, I'm gonna die anyways. I have cancer, so like it's like I'm like, what's the worst that could happen? But like you said, there's so many different layers to those type of what ifs if you're in that type of scenario. And personally, I don't know. I don't know if I would be like,
what's the worst that can happen is probably the mantra for a lot of people that have either passed away or are in jail.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. Unfortunate. But I do believe that, you know what I mean, if you are listening to this podcast, do not try to be Walter White. You are not Walter White. You are not Walter White.
I mean, and that's the realism.
And don't say I mean. Oh, okay. I was just making sure.
Get up a door and put the hat on. But I was gonna say and this is why Goodfellas is one of my favorite movies of all time, is because Scorsese showed the rise of the gangster life, but then he showed the fall of the gangster life. You know what I'm saying? He showed what happens. At the end of the day, everything, like the climax in the middle of the movie, then from there it goes downhill, bro. Like the main character, everything. It just goes down.
It happens to all anti-heroes. If you think about every anti-hero you can possibly think of. I'm thinking about Jordan Belfort in Wolf of Wall Street.
Exactly.
Fam, what? Right? Like he was the highest of highs, but at the same time, you're always gonna have to come back down because especially if the stuff you're doing is not things that are legal or of good taste to the world. You know what I mean? So
people humble you quick, fam. And that's what I was gonna say. So like everyone watching the show, it's like there's no glorification behind it. Because at the end of the day, Walter White he still died. The man got murdered. You know what I mean? So it's like he shouldn't be a figure that people, you know, look at and be like, I want to be that. You know what I'm saying? They could maybe take some elements from what he did in terms of like how he fought through adversity or like was able to mastermind certain stuff. But at the end of the day, yeah, he's not someone that, you know what I'm saying, that you want to aspire to be in life. But before we get to Act 3, man, let's just take a quick time out. We'll be back with more SceneDMs after this. We are back. SceneDMs Season 3, Issue 31, the one where they break bad. And man, we're here. It's exciting. It's going to be a great finish to this episode. We talk about sequels. We talk about trilogies. We talk about remakes. We talk about reboots.
Prequels.
What else we talk about? We talk about franchises that need to just stop, like they're going on too long. How do we feel about spinoffs? Trash. Like spinoffs is in that same category.
Trash.
Basura. Trash.
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 Before we even talk about this associated with this show, is there a spinoff any show? Do you feel
Trash.
Like
all right, I'll think that Monsters University was all right for Monsters Inc. That prequel was all right, not bad. Another spinoff, Cleveland Brown show for the Family Guy, obviously was trash. Ooh. That didn't work.
Yeah, that's a
canceled though. So
canceled though.
I'm trying to think of another spinoff. Oh, what a terrible one, Joey and Friends.
Oh man,
Jesus, that show was terrible. God dang, that show was terrible. That show was terrible. You my dog, Matt, but yo, son, that was.
They set him up though. They said, "Oh, you could carry the show. Oh, bet here, give me your own show."
Do you? I guess out of everybody, he would make the most sense for a spinoff because he was an actor and he lived that kind of eccentric life, but at the same time, and he also wasn't paired up,
right?
So he seemed like the most. I mean, because everybody else was paired up, so it seemed like it would be sus, but. Yeah, I'll say Joey is another one on that list.
I mean, there's ones like Frasier. Frasier's a really good spinoff.
Frasier's a spinoff of what?
Let me see what it said. I gotta do some research. Law and Order. They said Flash is a pretty good one because remember Arrow. Flash is
Oh yeah, that Flash is a really good one actually.
Yeah. Oh, the Jeffersons.
Baywatch Nights. I didn't even know they had a Baywatch Nights. That is obviously a spinoff of Baywatch. When it's like at night. Yo, okay. Sweet Life of Zach and Cody on Deck. Elite. Ooh, I like that
elite.
And Corey in the House with That's a Raven. Obviously, Corey in the House was tough.
Corey in the House was speaking of That's a Raven. Did you see the clip of Orlando performing the song?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. The man said, that's all give me.
You got a hot 16, bro. Hold it. But
CSI Miami, CSI New York.
Yeah. To answer your question, Frasier came from Cheers. Cheers, like a successful show, and then yeah.
Oh, I didn't know The Game was a spinoff of Girlfriends. I didn't know that.
Yes, bro. That's the golden one right there, man. It's cool. Yeah, that's the Darwin. Yeah.
No, I obviously love the show, but I didn't know it was a spinoff of Girlfriends.
The next one. But since we talked about it, let's just go ahead and let's bring it into the forefront, man. How do you feel about Better Call Saul?
Take your breath. You are the worst lawyer ever.
Hey, I just talked you down from a death sentence to 6 months probation. I'm the best lawyer ever.
Oh, damn it. Here, I'm in a real rush. I didn't have time to get the validation.
Fine, $9.
Fine, you're gonna make me walk back and get the stickers. I will walk back and get the stickers.
I'm not making you do anything. Those are the rules.
Ladies and gentlemen.
In the Breaking Bad universe, where?
Ladies and gentlemen, that was some of the worst television I've ever seen in my life. It was so bad. It makes no sense how bad it was. So this is how I'm going to explain it to you.
Okay.
Better Call Saul is a money grab. Obvious money grab. And obvious trying to tighten up loose ends. Tie up loose ends. There was no reason for Walter White, Jesse to make an appearance. No reason. There was no reason for Marie to make an appearance. There was absolutely no reason for Hank and Gomi to make an appearance. There was no reason for a lot of different things, but I think they did it for, to tie up the loose ends that they didn't have. Oh my God, how did Mike meet Fring? You know what I mean? He's from Philly and blah, 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 blah. Or how did Saul become this notorious con man? Or, you know what I mean? Things like that. And I'm just or how did Mike and Saul meet? I'm just yo, I don't care.
They're forcing it a little bit too much?
They were forcing it, and I think a lot of it talked about. I think the law, which is no wrong. Me, I like the law. I like the law. But I think that there's a lot of people out there that were expecting Breaking Bad, And maybe in real time, obviously for me it was a little different, but in real time they gave it years, maybe a couple of years, whatever it was, for Better Call Saul to come out after the show. I'm not even entirely sure. I have to look that up. But for me, I was binge watching it. So I binge watched Breaking Bad. I went straight into Better Call Saul.
Right.
And the quality, it was the same kind of like directorial way of doing it. And production was the same and yada, yada, yada. But it just didn't have the same zing. And it took so long for them to get to like the real Saul. And it was just like, I don't know. It wasn't like, I wish that the real Saul showed himself, like his brother. Like I didn't care about his brother. I don't care about your brother. Like that story was so trash.
Right.
Like the way it ended, the finale, bro, the TV show was so doo-doo. I have nothing to say to you, bro. I have like so trash.
There's not that one good thing to say about it.
Bro, there was nothing good. Nothing. Huel was a good character. I liked him.
It's because I know the Emmys, there was a whole bunch of uproar saying how it got nominated a whole bunch of times. But
bro, to this moment, I have no idea how it was nominated. I have no idea how it was nominated. I really don't.
Yeah.
I've talked to so many different people, and people have said, like, how do you not like it? It's such a great show. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I have literally no idea what anybody's talking about. I don't get it.
That's tough. And I think, like you said, sometimes when you try to expand on these universes, and it's like, now you bring in characters, like you said, Saul's brother, and it's like some people are just not interested in that. And then on top of that, it's like and I think that's kind of what happened with the superhero stuff too, with the fatigue. It's like you're bringing in some characters that people maybe don't have an affinity for right now. You know what I mean? So it's tough because you're trying to feed so many different fan bases and people, but sometimes when you're forcing it. And I also feel like when you said, this is a good point too, you talk about some of the things that happened in Breaking Bad, or the connections or the meetings, or how people even, the origin stories or the prequels, for example. Some things are left to the imagination, or it should be implied, I feel like. So just having a spinoff and then showing, oh, this is how so met. Sometimes, like you said, when it comes off so forced, it turns you off. Like it makes you feel like, all right, bro, like come on. It was better when it was a mystery and it was like, yo, back in the day, so-and-so character met.
You see what I'm saying? Like sometimes diving into that makes the situation terrible, makes it like, you know what I mean? It doesn't, like you said, it doesn't have the mystery anymore.
And no mystery. And then like you said before, because you always talk about this, but then now it's like, now you have to make sure that you, like the loose ends tie up perfectly. Because man,
bro. Like Mike looked 10 times older than he did in Breaking Bad. Like 30 times older than he did in Breaking Bad.
Chill, bro.
Bro, like I'm like, yo, Mike, fam, sit down. You're not doing it. Before you keel over, fam. They were boxing this man up, and I said, yo, fam, you're gonna die on the show. Relax.
They didn't have the de-aging CGI that they had for the Irishman for De Niro.
Nah, bro, I don't even think the CGI wouldn't have been helped, bro. I'm looking at him. I'm like, yo, he was older. He looks older than he did in the old show. And he's doing more than he did in the old show.
Give him a bigger role.
How the hell does that even make any sense? And I'm respectfully, like they made this nigga look like he was like Superman. This man can't nothing can happen to the man.
Man never got that.
The man, yo, he's a cop from Philly, but then he's able to do all this, knows all this information, knows all this information, knows all this information. I'm like, nigga, please, who are you? Man's able to pull out anything, Inspector Gadget ass nigga, but please, nigga, you're not. That's not. Yo, fam. I'm like, yo, it gets me cheesed. And like, because I'm like, bro, you're not really like that. You're not like that, fam. You're not like that. But they make the man seem like he's Superman.
You got him in that crack house. And you staged it. Made it look like a junkie with a gun. But it was you. And I know it was you. And I'm gonna prove it.
I'm shocked with how they had him in Better Call Saul, that he died from Walter shooting him.
Right.
One time. And he got shot at 1 billion times in Better Call Saul.
And the fact that Walter even caught him slipping like that. Because remember,
you see what I'm saying? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, he never got caught slipping. The man rolled up on bear people without them knowing and doing bear stuff before. And I'm just like, fam, now you're getting caught by Walter White. And then even makes it discredits like what you've created for Walter now. Because then I'm just like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. Walter had no skill of shooting. So why in God's name was he able to kill a man that's a marksmith?
Right.
marksman. You know what I mean? So like I'm like,
I
bro,
think that was gonna be my last question for you, bro. Like before we wrap this up, I was gonna say, was there anything that Breaking Bad was missing? Like, and I mean anything. Like, were there enough black characters? Were there?
No, I'm not. I wasn't in any of that because it's New Mexico. I don't give a. I don't think. Yeah, no. The people that are there are going to be there.
Was there enough? Was there enough? Was there enough like romantic storylines?
Nah, man. I don't think.
You don't think it needed it?
Not say I don't think it needed it. I think that
that's one thing I noticed too. I was like, I would have like there'd have been like, I don't know.
Like it showed what happened if you did have a love life. Like that's what it showed. So I mean, that's kind of it. Like Jesse lost the girl that he loved.
I wouldn't mind having a side thing installed.
That's what I was hoping he did after, especially, you know what I mean? Like whatever, like move like what's Tony Soprano. But he was moving very scarce, especially for a woman that, like, you know what I mean, she was treating him terrible. Fam. I wanted this man to leave her this entire time. I wanted to kill her. I wanted her to die, but she never died. I was cheesed. But they killed off other mans. Like in Better Call Saul, they killed off my man Howard. Like Howard got deaded off for no reason at all. The man got deaded because Saul and his thing Kim decided they wanted to ruin the man's career for no apparent reason, like nothing, just for fun. I'm like, bro, this show is so trash. And then the finale, bro, Dwayne. The finale was the biggest waste of time I was so cheesed that I watched that show. So cheesed. The finale, the mans were chanting, "Better Call Saul." You're telling me 50 men that are going to jail are gonna chant a next man's name? Because why? Better Call Saul. Why? Like, and then the man's not getting 1-2 pieced up in jail. The man's breaking bread. Come on, fam. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's stupidness, bro. Get me started on this trash.
Man, I love it, bro. I love the dedication, the passion behind it.
Bro, it's just doodle, bro. Doodle.
Nah.
In like a couple episodes, the last 2 episodes were like in black and white. And don't get me wrong, Christopher Nolan. You know I love black and white because of Oppenheimer. Yeah. Because it showed like which time is which time. But like my nigga, like, come on. Like, it's the last. Yeah. It's the last episode. Give me some color. Give me something. Like bro, I don't know. And then they kept jumping between times. Times were confusing. Like, why are you showing this right now? This made no sense. Don't get me wrong. Breaking Bad had some lull moments, fam. Bare lull moments. Like the Fly episode was a lull moment that I hated. The Fly episode. I'm not gonna lie. The Fly episode made me not watch the show for at least 2 weeks. And then I had to get back to it because
because it came out of nowhere. Like,
bro, there's certain things that show me that you're trying to extend time. There was no reason for the Fly episode. Tell me the reason for the Fly episode. Tell me the exact reason for the Fly episode.
Exactly what kind of contaminant are we dealing with here?
Fly.
Fly, like what do you mean?
I mean, a fly, a housefly.
Their interaction was cool. Like Jesse and Walt were talking and whatever the case may be. And I don't know if that's the one where he almost slipped up. I think it was that one where he almost slipped up and told Jesse. He almost slipped up and told Jesse that he killed. Yeah. Because he's all like emotional and almost told Jesse that he killed his thing. But like it was just like that episode was trash. But like it just seemed like all of Saul was trash. There wasn't as much action. There wasn't as much like thrill. There was just like law. And then, you know, it's just trash. And then they just showed how Saul was too late. Like I wanted to see how he was, like, you know what I mean? Like the real Saul. Right. Like, how much longer after he became the real Saul did he get caught up? Like, you know what I mean? Like how many years? What happened in between those years? Those are the years I think you should have focused on. I don't think you should have focused on this trash time. And I love Bob Odenkirk, but fam, that show was doo-doo. My dog. Because I love you and other things, but that was doo-doo. So that's my last point on that show.
If it was up to Merv, do not watch that show. But Breaking Bad, definitely watch it. And now it's the wrap-up part of SceneDMs, issue 31. Like I said, the one where they break bad. Let me put you on segment, suggestion segment, part of the show where we suggest a movie, a TV show we think would be worth tapping into. But since we're talking about TV shows, I think we should just talk about what was your favorite particular episode of Breaking Bad. If we had to recommend the show to somebody, what was that particular episode be that would get that person hooked, or that, you could be like, this represents the show at a high level. Like I said, we take pride in our recommendations. And if you want to check out more, please visit our SceneDMs page on Twitter and on IG where we post them, and the SceneDMs website. Make sure y'all type in SceneDMs.
Yes.
SceneDMs.com, where we have Merv star ratings, where we have our top picks of the month, and where we have the Take Notice reviews. So let us know how we did on our reviews, future episodes. Please visit the page, comment underneath our posts on social, or email us at SceneDMs@gmail.com if you have any questions that you'd like us to answer on the next show. But yes, sir, Merv, what do you have for the Breaking Bad episode you would recommend?
Well, one, I'm going to go with a movie as well.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go with one. I think giving, I'm going to say Nobody. I think Nobody with Bob Odenkirk.
Yes.
I think for some reason, now that I've watched Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, I think for some reason Nobody is somehow still Saul.
Connected?
Yes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think, obviously, but I think that if you really thought about it really hard, you could make some connections that make him be like Saul. Yeah. Maybe he went to jail. He came back out, got a new family, whatever, fell in love, and he had all these skills now. But obviously he was in jail for 84 years. Maybe he was only in there for a small period of time. He was kind of old, though, kind of in the show, so maybe not. But it just seemed, for some reason, like him, because he would get bullied so much in
I ain't gonna lie,
Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, and I'm just like, yo, honestly, Nobody seems like the movie that, like, it's, like, about him, but in a different way. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, I like that because I'm a big fan. First of all, I love prison movies, but I'm a big fan of characters that go to prison and they come out with skill sets where it's like, all right, these guys learn something in jail. They learn how to fight. They learn how to hack things. They learn how to whatever. And it's like they come out a whole new man. And so I like that, especially because Nobody was a dope movie. Shout out to RZA. He was in the Wu-Tang. But first of all, why is there not Nobody 2? That's a topic for another day. Hopefully
I think I seen somewhere that they were like trying to do it, but I don't know like how far it went. I think he wants to or he doesn't want. I don't know. Obviously 50-50, but yeah, that's my recommendation for the movie.
That TV show?
TV show, I would, since this episode, and I said episode, I mean season 5, some of these are very hard to pronounce. I do not know how to pronounce them, so I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, I fear we have the same one. Because you should have said that. Starts with an O?
Yeah, I was gonna say that one, but I was gonna say the one above it too.
Okay,
but I don't know how to say it respectfully. So it's season 5, episode 13, called Tohali, maybe I don't know. And it's where it's around the end of the end of the series, and it starts to heat up between Walter and Hank and everybody involved, and it just starts to get really crazy. And I think it's the beginning of the end, essentially. So, what about you?
For me, for a movie, I'm gonna throw a movie in there because you did. I'm gonna go with Bryan Cranston. I'm gonna go with him and Argo. Big Argo fan.
Ooh, I love Argo.
Argo, man. Has Alan in there. Has my boy Ben Affleck. Thought it was a great showing there from Bryan Cranston, and such a different character from his portrayal of Walter White. And then TV show, I'm just going to mention the episode immediately after the ones that you did. So season 5, episode 14, I think it's called Ozymandias.
Yeah.
I like that episode a lot because it's one of those episodes that is a career-defining moment for Bryan Cranston, and it's one of the scenes where Walt is begging for Hank's life. He's murdered in front of his eyes. I think that was like, when you watch a show, Merv, or a movie, and you're like, this main character can't die, or they're not gonna kill this guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Hank had already had his brush with death before when he, got shot by the twins, and he still made it through. And like he's been in shootouts and other situations that he's gotten a lot of. So to see them like make that decision, and like this was like the end was near.
I thought he was gonna die with the twins for sure.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So when he made it through that, I'm like, okay, he's obviously one of those untouchable characters that it's like, we're going to have him get close to these situations.
Nah, that nigga going to die.
But yeah, it laid the foundation for everything like to come. And I think that Walt loses everything. Jesse is taken prisoner. And life has gone so far behind his control that he somehow manages to take control back of it for the master plan that's to come at the end of the series. But for me, I would have to say that's one of the better episodes that I had to recommend when it comes to like, yo, if you had to watch Breaking Bad, check out that episode.
Okay, good pick. That was obviously my pick, but first pick. But I just let me allow you.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, fam.
That is the first episode of season 3. Super excited. Obviously, it's different vibes being in different parts of the world, but can't wait to log back in person. But until then, we're going to give you guys some great content, some great episodes for the next few months. So stay tuned, man. Issue 32 is coming up soon, and it's going to be a great one. So same time, same place next week. Make sure you look us up and subscribe, man. YouTube channel.
You know the vibes.
Yes, sir. You know the vibes. Apple, subscribe there. Spotify, we are there too. Then also our website where we also have our episodes there too. So, man, just look for SceneDMs. We're going to be everywhere and everywhere. Like I said, everywhere soon. So see you next episode, man.
See you.